Okay, sit yourself onto your left and come into a good cross-leg position. Just feel that you are sitting evenly. Just have a little wriggle about. Make sure that the hips feel level, and then hold onto your knees. Lift up into the chest. Drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. Look down at the floor, look at something that isn't moving. Focus on filling the lungs from the bottom to the top, emptying them from the top to the bottom. Release your knees, bring your hands into Namaste. Press the palms firmly together, lengthen from the armpits into the elbows. And with an exhalation, allow your eyes to gently close. Spend a few moments listening to the breath. Listening to the breath as the lungs fill from the bottom to the top. And as they empty from the top to the bottom. With an exhalation, draw your chin forwards and down to make contact with the chest. Spend a moment to seek to generate a genuine, heartfelt sense of gratitude for something or someone or somewhere. Hold on to that feeling of abundance in the heart area, and then release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. Bring the tip of the index finger together with the tip of the thumb. Just a gesture of wisdom, of peacefulness and physical intelligence that we can bring into our practice. Raise your head and allow your eyes to softly open, the focus to softly come back. Hold on to your knees, lift up into your chest, elevating the heart area upwards. Elevating the heart area upwards. Sorry, just bear with me a second, I'm trying to... Elevating the heart area upwards, and with an exhalation, turn to the right side, drawing the abdomen across. Drawing the abdomen across, and the ribs and the shoulders. Just observe how the pose feels as you turn into it. And then come back to the center. Hold onto your knees, lift up into the chest. Take a deep inhalation. And with the exhalation, turn to the left. Just spend some time observing how the pose feels for you this morning. And then come back to the center. Just come off your lift and sit yourself back onto your heels. Have the big toes together, your knees apart, and then just sit back on your heels. Just feel how, excuse me, feel how the shins gently mold themselves into the floor. Consciously push the shins into the floor, lift up into the chest, and then come forwards, hinging at the hips. Stretching the arms away, bringing the forehead down. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, feeling how the lower back especially stretches out. Aim to keep the seat bones down on the heels. Just listen to the breath. Raise your head, keep your right hand where it is, and then thread the left arm through the armpit region. Bring the shoulder down, bring the head down, and then press that left arm really deeply into the floor. Press the right arm into the floor like you're still doing advisable, and then roll the chest down to face the floor. Feeling that you really stretch out in those shoulder blade, in that shoulder blade region. And then release, stretch both arms away. Sit the seat bones back down onto the heels. And then come back into baddangulyasana. Raise your head, keep your left hand where it is, and this time thread the right arm underneath the left arm, underneath the armpit region. Bring the shoulder down, bring the head down if you can, and then really activate that right arm into the floor. Activate the left arm, and roll the chest down to face the floor. So it's a really good way of stretching out that space between the shoulder blades. It's really hard to penetrate into that region. This really works for lengthening out into the shoulder blade region. And then stretch your arms away. Come back into advisable. Just breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Stretching into just straightforward advisable. Bring your hands as wide apart as the mat. Keep your head down, but stretch your hands so that you can feel the little finger touching the edge of the mat. Come up onto your knees, turn your toes under, find the edge of the mat with your feet. So the little toe side of the foot is on the edge of the mat, and then come up into dog down. Just feel your way into the pose. Observe how your body feels this morning. Activate the kneecaps, activate the thighs. Just observe how it feels for you this morning. Do you feel light or do you feel heavy? So don't make judgments, just make observations. Feeling the lungs from the bottom to the top, emptying them from the top to the bottom. Okay, step your feet forwards, come up into a standing position. Do half uttanasana with your hands on a lift if you've got a bad back, like that. Otherwise, bring your feet as wide apart as the mat. Raise your arms, hook the thumbs into the crease of the elbows, and then with a straight back, come forwards and hang down. But keep the head lifted as you come down. Then just let the head reach down to the floor. Opening up the energy of the legs. Feel where there is resistance. Feel where there is freedom. Feel where there is imbalance of action. Look at your feet. Do you drop your insteps or do you lift them? Turn the fronts of the legs inwards and then lift the inner heel into the inner ankle bone. Inner heel into the inner ankle bone. So just look at your feet, lift the inner heel to the inner ankle bone, and hopefully you will lift your insteps. Lift the inner heel into the inner ankle. And then release your hands down to the floor. Bend your knees on the way up if you need to, and then come up into Tadasana. Have the inner edge of the feet together, and then raise the chest, raise the head, extend from the shoulders into the fingertips. Just breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Okay, so the inner heel into the inner ankle, that's the lift. So just bend down and just give yourself a little, with the nail, just give yourself a little scratch from the, not like a big scratch, but just a like a little guide. So just inner heel into the inner ankle. So you can feel, and do it on both sides. Do it on both sides. Just drag your nail across the skin, the inner heel into the inner ankle. And then when you come back into that Tadasana, maybe you can feel it. Maybe you can feel that inner heel into the inner ankle. So this is especially useful if you drop your insteps. It's also useful if you've got kind of slightly weak ankles like I have. So lift the inner heel to the inner ankle. Stretch into the toes. Turn the fronts of the legs inwards, tuck the tailbone in. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Bring your arms out nice and wide into the chest, and then step or jump your feet apart, nice and wide with the legs. Turn the left toes in so you can rest your hands on your hips for a second. Turn the right leg and foot all the way out. And then bring the hips to face the front. And then I want you to go back to those inner heel into the inner ankle bone, especially this back leg. So this one is the really important one. You've got to really lift from the inner heel into the inner ankle bone. So feel like you really create lift there. You do the same on the other leg as well, but it's the back leg that's really, really important. Inner heel into the inner ankle. Tighten the knees, lift out of the chest. And then as you come over, think inner heel into the inner ankle bone of that back leg. Inner heel into the inner ankle bone. Turn the legs outwards, especially the front leg. Feel that you are in alignment in 3 dimensions. Just have a quick look down, make sure that your head is indeed directly over the foot. If it's not, then lift the chest, squeeze the front leg buttock bone forwards. And then come back to the centre, swap the feet around, turn the right toes in and the left leg and foot all the way out. Just rest your hands a second. Again, inner heel into the inner ankle bone. Really lift it. So even bend down and just give yourself that little scratch with the nail. Just give yourself that feeling that it's there again. With the front leg, it's the same thing. Inner heel into the inner ankle bone. But at the same time, that can make you feel like you overdo it in this front leg. So it's inner heel into the inner ankle bone of this front leg, but at the same time, try and lengthen from the outer heel across the foot into the big toe. So inner heel into the inner ankle, outer heel into the big toe. So they're a little diagonal with that other one. So inner heel into the inner ankle, outer ankle into the big toe. You can do the same with the back foot, but that's really specifically for this front foot. Lift up into the chest, really lift the inner heel into the inner ankle bone, especially of that back leg. And then look up. Just have a quick look down, make sure your head is over the foot, correct it if it's not. And then from here we're going to go directly into dog down. If you don't enjoy, or if that gives you struggles, then just come out of the pose as normal, this way, step or jump at the feet back together, and then come into dog down. Otherwise, drop the top hand down onto the floor on the big toe side, have the other hand on the little toe side, and then turn the back leg, and then step yourself back into dog down. Just feel how it feels lighter than it did last time. Okay, come down onto your knees and sit back on your heels for a moment. Just sitting back on your heels, lifting the chest, driving the shoulders away from your ears. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Okay, I want you to sit on a lift, so the end of a bolster will work. You sit in on the end of the bolster and come into virasana. You might need a belt handy as well. So have the feet either side of the bolster, have the knees together, and then draw the calf flesh away from the backs of the knees, and then sit yourself in virasana. So just come into virasana, lifting up into the chest. So you're sitting on a lift. The bolster's probably a little high, but that doesn't necessarily matter. It's better to be too high than too low. Just make sure that you feel level at the seat bones. Stretch your arms out, interlock the fingers, turn the palms all the way out, and then raise your arms over your head. Feel your lungs inflate from the bottom to the top. Inflate the lungs from the bottom to the top. Release your arms, swap the interlock of the fingers, turn the palms all the way out, squeeze the elbows in and raise your arms over your head. And then release your arms. Put your belt over your right shoulder. And just lift up into the chest. Feel how the shoulders feel warm and fluid. Stretch your arms forward, stretch the left arm forward, spreading into the fingertips, turning the palms, and then reach around, keeping the upper arm rotating in the socket. So even if you drop your chest a little to do that for gomukhsasana, and then bend the elbow, and then with the other hand, just assist that arm up the back towards the neck. And then reach up with the right hand. Bend the elbow and see, can you take hold? If you can't take hold, use the belt. So we usually do gomukhsasana as a standing pose, but classically it's a seated pose. The legs aren't quite like this. This is a bit of a variation of the legs, but it's typically a seated pose. Stretch the bottom elbow to the floor, the top elbow to the ceiling. After you've been there for a little while, just see if you can maybe creep the hands a little closer together. Try not to poke the head forwards, just have the head looking directly forwards. So you don't poke the head down to the floor. Again, just walking the hands a little closer together. If you're using the belt, that's especially useful. If you've already got your hands connected, then see if you can just connect them more. Some people can get hold of the opposite wrist. I certainly can't, but some people can. Okay, release the top arm. Drop the chest a little, release the bottom arm, and then turn the palms all the way out. Bring the belt over to the left shoulder, and just lift lift up into the chest, turning the palms outwards, spreading into the fingers. And then stretch forwards with the right hand. Turn the palm all the way out, rotate the upper arm in the socket, and then even dropping the chest a little. Just bring that hand up towards the neck. And then reach up with the left arm. Just feel how you stretch out of that previous pose initially. Feels good, doesn't it? Turn in the palm to face almost to the back of the room, and then bend your elbow. See if you can take hold. So I often on this side, I can just about get there, but I often start with the belt because I'm a bit more restricted on this shoulder. So just pull the elbows apart. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Just stretching the arms away from each other. Just keep creeping the hands together. And then maybe you'll be able to get a hold of the hands. So I start with the belt and then go to the hands on this side. Just feel where there is resistance, feel where there is freedom. And then release the top arm. Gently release the bottom arm and then turn the palms all the way out. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Okay, and release. I want you to stay seated on the lift, but stretch your legs away. Just stretch your legs away and really tadasanaise them. So turn the fronts of the thighs inwards, tighten the kneecaps. Again, lengthen from the inner heel into the, this time, lengthen from the inner ankle bone into the inner heel. So it's the other way around. Lengthen from the inner ankle bone into the inner heel. So that the feet, if they were against the wall, they'd leave a perfect footprint. Otherwise, if the inner heel kind of shrinks, then the toes, the big toes turn in, the little toes turn out. So lengthen from the inner heel into the inner ankle bone. Lift up into the chest, so you can have your feet slightly apart or you can have them together. Inner heel into the inner ankle bone. Lifting up into the chest. So we're going to go into malasana. So the cobbler pose. So bend your knees and then bring the feet in towards the body. And then hold onto your knees, lift up into the chest. So let me show you first, and then I'll give you a couple of variations if you need them. So just sit in this position to start off with, holding onto your knees and lifting up into the chest. So the knees are apart because you're going to bring your chest through. So the pose is where we reach up and we reach forwards, and then let me just show you first, and then you come down and extending forwards, lengthening the tailbone in. Now, not everyone can lift from that pose. So if you struggle to lift yourself up, and get a couple of blocks to the side, and then you can kind of hoist yourself up. You push yourself up so that the seat bones leave the bolster, and then you can come forward. If your heels lift off the floor, then get yourself a folded blanket and then have it so it's really close to you, and you just have the heels on the folded blanket, and then you lift yourself up with the heels supported with the blanket. Okay, so have whatever you need nearby. Pull the feet in towards the body, pull the knees into the pull on the knees and lift up into the chest. Try and lift the abdomen up to the diaphragm region. reach up and then come forward. See if you can lift off. At this stage, then I want you to really work to drive the abdomen up to the diaphragm, up to the collarbone, up to the chest. Keep the heels down, turn the tailbone in. Keep the shoulders away from the ears. Try and keep the heels down. Lengthen forwards. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. I always hunch my shoulders in this, so I have to really consciously lengthen the shoulders away from the ears and then gently come down. So now we've done it once, make a decision about what you kind of need in under your heels. So if your heels were lifting, then have a folded blanket. You have to kind of roll it up a little, but have it underneath. So have it close by, but have it so that the heels are supported. Don't have it too high, because sometimes that can help, makes it harder to lift. Lift up into the chest. Elevate the heart area upwards. Raise your arms up and then come forward. So the action of the pose is to lift from here. To lift from here, to draw the shoulders down away from the ears, and to draw the lower ribs through the knees. Because ultimately, in the full pose, you bring your arms around your back and then you bring them into namaskarasana behind the back. I'm absolutely millions of miles away from that, but we're just doing this first stage. Okay, and then gently release, and then just stay sitting on the lift and come into swastikasana. Hold your knees, lift up into the chest. Draw your shoulders down, away from your ears. And then turn to the side. Bring the back hand into the bolster. Stay on the front edge of the seat bones as you turn. Drawing the abdomen around. The abdomen, the ribs and the shoulders. And then come back to the centre. And then turn to the left. Gently come back to the centre. Just come down onto your back, and we're going to stay with the bolster. Just level out your bolster if it's kind of all gone flat at one end. Get the folded blanket and have that for your head. And then come into supta baddangulyasana. So you're sitting close to the end of the bolster, not right up on top of it. It can be quite strong on your lumbar if you're too close. My bolster kind of sinks at the end though, so I can sit a little closer. But if you've got a really firm bolster, you want to have a bit of space behind you. Just lift up into the chest as you guide yourself down, and then have the folded blanket underneath your head. Now, just one fold, just the normal fold, might not be enough. So you might want to fold it again, so it's a really good wedge, and then place that under your head. That feels really nice. So maybe give yourself even more of a lift underneath your head. What you don't want is for your chin to be higher than your forehead. So pick up the back of the skull and lengthen it out. Bring it back onto the bolster. If there's stiffness or resistance in your hips. And put some blocks on the outsides of the thighs. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Fill in the lungs from the bottom to the top, emptying them from the top to the bottom. Raise your arms up to the ceiling, interlock the fingers, turn the palms all the way out, and then lengthen your arms away along the floor. They won't reach the floor because of the bolster, but just stretch them away, squeeze the outer elbows in. If it's really uncomfortable in your shoulders, put something underneath your hands, like a block, just so that you're supporting your arms. But chances are the shoulders are probably supported with the folded blanket anyway. But just use whatever you need. Just enjoy the openness of the abdomen. Just breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Raise your arms up to the ceiling. Swap the interlock of the fingers. So the other index finger is on the top of the stack, and then raise your arms up. And then lengthen your arms along the floor. Release your arms, swap, just release the hands, release the arms, and then just rest your hands on the floor either side of your torso. Just feel the openness of the front of the chest. Push yourself up into a seated position. And then hold on to your big toes, hold on to the big toes, and lift the chest. Lift the chest, feel the energy that you've released. And then bring your legs into swastikasana, into cross legs or into half padmasana if you can do that without any discomfort. Hold on to your knees, lift up into the chest. And then turn to the right, dig the backhand into the floor and rotate to the right side. So try not to sink into the back like this. Keep pressing the hand into the floor so that you can roll onto the front edge of the seat bones. Turning the abdomen, turning the ribs, turning the shoulders. And then come back to the centre and then around to the side. Just feeling how your energy really lifts through the deep extensions. And then gently come back to the centre. So we can do a restorative pose. You're going to bring the bolster this way. If you haven't got a bolster, you can just use some cushions or a rolled up blanket, and then have a block, and then just have it. So there's these blocks anyway. There's that kind of flat edge. There's that kind of medium size edge, and then there's a high edge. Use the medium size edge and have the folded blanket over the top. So this is really nice for shoulders. So you're gonna, it's called the side lying stretch. So you just have your knees bent like this, and on one side it's facing the bolster, and then you lengthen along the bolster and then bring the shoulder down into the floor. So it's the armpit chest that is supported. Bring the arm into the arm that's on the floor into a little right angle, and then you rest the head on the block. It's nice to have the blanket over the block as well. And then you just stretch your arm out and then lengthen your arm over your ear. If there's discomfort in your shoulder, you can always get a block and just rest your hand on top of the block. Or you can just have the hand just resting on the hip, that upper hand just resting on the hip. But it feels really nice just to stretch out into that top shoulder. So once you're there, restorative yoga is different to the normal practice that we do, because the whole point isn't that you stretch, you extend. The point is that you release. So just breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath, feeling that you can breathe evenly into both lungs. Even though maybe the floor facing lung feels a little restricted by the bolster. So with restorative yoga poses, we stay for a longer period, and I'll talk less, which you might be thankful for, because the aim is to relax rather than to listen. So just breathe evenly into both lungs, evenly out of both lungs, and then relax into the pose. Feel that you can let the muscles really soften. Restorative poses work because you stay there for a long time, you relax into them. So it might feel like you're doing nothing, well, that's the entire point. When you come out of the pose, you'll feel the difference. So just enjoy this sensation of just release. Okay, bring the top arm back onto the hip. Push your bottom elbow into the floor and then sit yourself up into cross legs. Just observe how your energy settles. Observe it may feel like there's an imbalance of energy around the torso, around the chest, but we will address that in a moment. And then sit on the other hip, bending the knees in the opposite direction, and then just stretch yourself along the bolster, bring the shoulder down. So we would stay normally a bit longer than we are now, but we're kind of running short of time. Just stretch that top elbow over the ear and then release into the floor. Just let go. Don't try and hold or extend the pose. Just let the body relax. Breathing into both lungs evenly, feeling the lungs from the bottom to the top. Just enjoy the opportunity to relax before you have your day. Just relaxing into the pose allows you to really benefit from it. Okay, bring the top arm back onto the hip. Push the bottom elbow into the floor and then push yourself up into cross legs. Just observe your energy. Observe the profound, deep energy that comes from restorative pose. Just feel the freedom in the shoulders, the energy in the chest. Okay, just take the bolster away. Just keep that handy because we're going to use that again in a moment. Just come down onto the floor and then pull your knees towards your chest And then lift the seat bones, place the bolster underneath your lower back, gather the shoulder blades together, come up onto the tops of the shoulders, and then we're not going to stay very long, just a minute or two, just come into viparita karanhi. So just supporting the lower back, the sacrum area, and stretch your legs up to the ceiling. So like I said, we're not going to stay very long. We don't have very long in the pose, but just a little time to invert the body. So we've done some deep stretches, mainly on the floor. Just go back to the inner ankle, lengthening into the inner heel. Just lengthening that inner ankle up to the inner heel. In the standing poses, we stretch in the opposite direction, but inner ankle into the inner heel. Okay, bend your knees and then lift the seat bones, roll the bolster away so that it's underneath your knees. Get a folded blanket or a cushion underneath your head. Just make sure you're in a really good straight line. And then release into the floor. Let the body completely relax into the ground. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Just relaxing into the ground, letting the muscles relax. Letting the body become heavy. Feeling that your energy radiates from the bones and into the muscles, into the organs, to the flesh and the skin. And then when you're ready, just wriggle your toes, wriggle your fingers, bend your knees, bring your feet onto the bolster. Have the feet together and the knees apart. And then draw your knees in towards your chest. Have a little rock from side to side, from top to bottom. Just a gentle massage on the spine, and then roll over onto your right side. Just stay down for a breath or two. And then straighten out the top leg, come back up into a seated position. And then come into cross legs with your hands in the masti, just a final spinal lift. Draw your breath in through your nose, down into the abdomen. Be conscious of the energy that you've released through your practice this morning, that good, positive, healthy flow of clean energy that the extensions and the forward bends, and the twists and the inversions and the restorative poses bring to the body and to the mind. And then draw your chin down to meet your chest. Acknowledge the positive energy you've created around the heart area and send some of that positive energy out into the world. gently release the backs of your hands down towards your knees, palms facing upwards. And then raise your head. Allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Thank you very much. Thank you. So hopefully you feel as though you've really lifted your energy and you've given yourself some good, positive lightness to put into your day. So thank you very much for joining me.